Hey guys, it's Fee. I am here with a TTC update. Finally. It kind of feels like it's been forever since my second egg retrieval, because normally after you have an egg retrieval, you go and are able to do a fresh transfer relatively soon, but because we did PGD, it feels like it's been forever. This just feels like it's been a very, very long cycle, but we are finally here. We're finally here. Today was my baseline scan, so we are on the way, and two of our awesome embryos are going to be transferred in soon enough. We are getting close. So to get here, I had to wait for the red plague to show up, and that was earlier this week. Right on time, or just about on time. And my baseline scan and blood work, like I said, was this morning. And everything looked great. Everything was a go. Everything was suppressed. No cysts, which is a good thing for me. And they have pushed through all the information in my patient portal, and all of the shots and all of the meds to start everything up is starting tonight. So, what does that mean? That means that probably in about 10 to 14 days, my transfer will occur, as long as my lining isn't sluggish being built up. That has happened to me in the past, but hopefully it won't happen that way this time. Baseline. I was actually really kind of concerned about if I would be okay and I would be properly suppressed, because Fee has been really sick. You guys can probably hear it in my voice. My voice is not quite right. It kind of fades in and out. But 2015, day one, started with the infection from hell in my sinuses. Supposedly it was an infection. I'm not entirely convinced of that, because for about 12 days there, it was pretty nasty. And I was on antibiotics. I was on Zinthromax, also known as a Z-Pack. And the antibiotics didn't help. So then I ended up on a Medrol dose pack, which is a steroid. And I ended up on a steroid inhaler. And I ended up on Claritin and all kinds of stuff to try and clear this up. And for the most part, I'm doing better. It's not completely gone, so I don't know what to make of it. But what concerned me was the antibiotic, because there are some antibiotics out there that, if they're strong enough, they can affect birth control, which I was on at the time. So I was really hoping that when we got to the baseline, nothing would go afoul because of that. And thankfully, it did not. We are good. Everything is good to go with that. So that brings me to, what are we doing this try? This is try number 4. And we have, quick recap, we have 5 embryos that were PGD'd, and they were deemed as worthy. They were deemed as perfect. So most of the meds that are being used for this cycle are pretty common. They're all the same ones that I've done in the past, but there is a couple of new additions. And I said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that I wanted to do a video that just showed everything that we're using, that showed my protocol, that showed the supplements that I was taking. I do that every now and then just so that, you know, when one of these works, we'll know what it is that worked. And I also had a couple requests from a few people that were curious about what my protocol was. So I'm going to do that now, because that's about all the information I have. I will be taking shots and pills and whatnot right now for the next 10 to 14 days to build up the lining and make a nice, cushy, comfy baby bed. And as soon as that looks good to them, we will be doing the FET. So if I had to guess, the transfer might be around like the 27th, 28th, 29th, somewhere in there. I guess we'll see. Like I said, it completely depends on how well my body cooperates. But, okay, protocol. What are we doing? Well, I have, as many of you know, I have high natural killer cells. So, the one thing that we are adding this time is a steroid pill. This is dexamethasone, and I am on 0.75 milligrams a day. I take one of these a day. And this is essentially supposed to lower your immune system, just like a lot of other steroids out there, just like the ones that I just finished taking for this infection that I had. So maybe that'll help too. I don't know. But this is a common one. The other common one is prednisone. They do lower your immune system. They're supposed to lower your natural killer cells. And of course, along with that, that means that you can catch infections easier. So I kind of feel like I should be put into a bubble for a while, because despite the fact that I have high natural killer cells, I really feel like I can catch a cold from across the state. No joke. So we'll see how that goes. So this is new. This is the first time we are trying this. This starts tonight, and I take it every day until they tell me to stop. So if this works, that probably won't be for a while. So that's the first thing. The other thing that starts tonight is estrogen, also known as estradiol valerate. Just depends on which one you get. One is a generic for the other. This is essentially the estrogen shots that build up your lining. I will be taking this every other night. I do my shots at night. You can do your shots whenever you want, essentially, as long as it's approximately the same time each time. So I will be doing this at night. And I gotta look at my phone here. The dose for this one is 0.3 ml. And this is injected with an 1.5-inch needle going in the backside. So fun there. Now, the fun thing about this is that this was actually in my stash, because this stuff, I think you guys have heard me say this before, is on national back order. It's still on national back order, this particular version of it, the 10 milligram version. So what they had sent me was the patches. This is this in patch form. And a lot of people don't do the shots, they do the patches, because obviously they're a little bit more enjoyable than sticking yourself every other day. If you do the patches, I don't remember if it's 2 or 3 on the tummy. They go below your belly button, and you switch them every couple of days. So these obviously are much more enjoyable than the shot, but for whatever reason, my particular clinic prefers the shot. They just think it's an easier monitored and controlled dose. As long as you get the shot in the right area, it's going in. Where these are kind of, I guess they're kind of like slow dose over time kind of estrogen. I really don't know what the difference is, if it matters. I think it's just pure preference on your clinic. We would have used these if I wouldn't have had 2 vials of this unopened and still good in my stash. When they heard that, they were like, oh, we want you to use this. So there you go. So this starts tonight, and this does continue past the transfer and everything. This is every other night. The other thing that I am doing that I have done in the past, I didn't do it in the last cycle, is a blood thinner, Lovenox. That starts tonight, and it continues on until they tell me to stop. Another one that will probably continue for a while if this works. And this is because I have MTHFR. MTHFR gives you issues with B vitamins, it gives you issues with folic acid, and it gives you issues with too many clots being in your blood, particularly in your lining, which can cause problems with implantation. It can cause problems with the baby later on. It can cause problems with the umbilical cord. It's just all kinds of, you don't want it. So I will be taking Lovenox. This is the generic for Lovenox, and it is a shot. Check that thing out. It's spring-loaded. I always thought the Lovenox shot, while it's handy that it's pre-drawn for you, none of the other ones are. The spring, I always thought was a little unnecessary, but that's just me. This goes in the belly every night, and my past experience with it is no matter what I try to do, cold, heat, inject it, count to 5, slowly pull it out, quickly, fastly, doesn't matter. I will eventually bruise like a you-know-what from this. But it's a blood thinner, that's part of the game. Just kind of comes along with the territory. Speaking of blood thinners, I am also on baby aspirin. I take baby aspirin every day. Same concept, baby aspirin helps thin the blood. A lot of people just take baby aspirin and that's all they need, but for those of us that need heavier duty blood thinning, you get prescribed this. And there's a couple other versions of Lovenox that get prescribed also. So, that's all I'll be taking right now that wasn't already on my regime, my daily regime. And once my lining looks good, they will start the progesterone shots, which come in a vial, just like the estrogen gets injected the same way, 1.5-inch needle in the backside. That one would be every night. I do them right along at the same time as I would do the estrogen, so those will be at night also. And that starts a handful of days prior to the FET when that is scheduled, and that continues on just like everything else. At the time of the transfer, we will be doing intralipids again this time. We did intralipids last time. We're going to try it again. I need an 8 ml dose of 20% intralipids. The more common dose is 4, but my numbers are kind of high, so we have to do a double with me. And something else I had in my stash, because when I tried in November, I learned that I was able to get this stuff through my hometown pharmacy. I got very lucky with that, as long as I had a script. And chances are you'll need more than 1 dose of intralipids if you get pregnant. So they had given me a script in advance, hoping that last time I would get a BFP, and I would just have it on hand. Well, I did get the intralipids, and I've just had it stored in a dark, cool place, and it is still good, so we will be using what I have on the day of the transfer. This is what it looks like. Looks like milk in a bag, 20% intralipids. Now, the funny part is, this is the only size my pharmacy was able to get, my local pharmacy, and literally they just inject a needle into this, pull out 8, and the rest of this, unfortunately, goes in the garbage because you can't use it. And it's kind of bad because there's 500 in here. Too bad that they can't reuse it for all of the doses I may or may not need. But the one thing I did find out through my clinic, 2015, my insurance has changed a little bit. My particular insurance is now allowing my clinic to attempt to bill them for it. I don't know if it'll get covered or not. They seem to think that the actual infusion of the intralipids will get covered, which will save me a couple $100 each time it has to be done. The medicine is going to be hit or miss. I have this dose, so I don't have to worry about that. But if I need future doses, there is a new pharmacy, mail order pharmacy, that they got a deal on that supposedly the intralipids are supposed to be pretty cheap. So we'll see. We'll see. I know there are other people in my state that have different types of insurance that don't have a problem with getting the intralipids covered or the actual infusion of it. I did, so maybe that'll change this year. We'll see. So that is what my RE is doing for my protocol. The only other thing that will be done is prior to the transfer, I do have to take an antibiotic that the name escapes me at the moment, but that's a normal thing. They have you take that because anytime they're up in there doing their thing, they don't want you to get an infection. So that's it. That's it. Past that, everything else that I am taking is stuff that I've been on, my daily supplements and whatnot. I am still on metformin twice a day and 500 milligrams. You'd think I would know that. I had to look at the bottle. I've been taking this for how long? Twice a day, 500 milligrams. I am still on metformin, even though I supposedly don't have PCOS, but those of you guys that have been following me know that story. I am still on this. Past that, all my supplements are in a box below me. I'm going to grab them. Is anybody else that's going through this? Here you have a box of supplements like this. See, it's labeled pills. So we can just refill our big old people bins once a week. All right, so really quickly, this is the prenatal I take. I take 3 of those in the morning. I take NAC at night. 1 of these, which is supposed to be good for the female reproductive system, especially if you possibly have PCOS. I just continue to take it. They don't have a problem with me taking it. I also take Super Omega 369, 1200 milligrams. Normally I take 1 of these at night, which is 600, but when I get closer to a cycle, which is now, I do take the full dose of 1200, so I take 2 of these at night. I also take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, which I actually may be discontinuing, hence the whole lowering the immune system thing. I probably will stop taking these starting tomorrow morning. Either that or I will just lower the dose, because 1,000 milligrams is for people who can catch colds from across the county, like me. All right, I will also be taking bromelain, which is supposed to help with implantation. This is the stuff that you find in pineapple core that a lot of people do around the time of transfer or around the time of IUIs, because it's supposed to help with implantation. So I will be taking this for a few days right around implantation, or right around hopeful implantation, right around the actual transfer. I'm not taking this right now, not yet, but this will be added in. And I just find it easier to take it by pill than to have to worry about, getting a pineapple and eating the core or turning it into a smoothie. I have a video on that because eating a pineapple core is not enjoyable to me. The smoothies seem to go a little bit better. The other 3 things I have are also because I have MTHFR and my body does not absorb B vitamins properly. This is the body ready version of B12. I take 1 of those every morning. My body can absorb this, where regular B12, my body really doesn't absorb it. This is the body ready version of B6. I take 1 of those in the morning. Again, body ready, because that's what I need to be able to absorb it, otherwise my body doesn't. And folate. This is the body ready version of folic acid, which, as you all know, is really important for pregnancy. I take 5 of these a day because my immunologist originally wanted me to take 5,000 micrograms, no, 4,000, I'm sorry, 4,000 micrograms of folic acid a day. I told her I was more comfortable with taking folate in hopes that my body would absorb it better. She was fine with that as long as I still took the same dose. So I take folate, and I take 5 of these a day, 3 in the morning and 2 at night. You don't have to split them up. You can take them all at once, but I take a lot of pills in the morning, so I split them up. And I think that's it. That's enough, right? Oh, and the baby aspirin. I do not have it in here, or do I? Yes, I do. Baby aspirin. I take 1 of these every morning. And that's it. Me and my box. That is it. That is my protocol. Those are the supplements I'm taking. If anybody has any questions or if I missed anything, put it below. I will try and answer what I can. But now we're going to hope and we're going to pray that all of this works. And maybe the new addition of the steroids and trying the blood thinners again and the intralipids all together. Maybe that is the cocktail I need, because with my last miscarriage, I did try the blood thinners, but I was not on the steroid and I was not on intralipids because they didn't even know about my natural killer cell issue at that time. I also was not on the special version of folic acid because they didn't know I had MTHFR at that time. All of that was found out right after my last miscarriage. My last attempt with a frozen embryo transfer did include intralipids, but that's it. And I was on the special B vitamins and the folic acid, and I had implantation failure. Sorry guys, my voice is going. Izzy. All right, that's a little better. Sorry. So I'm hoping the steroids, the intralipids, the baby aspirin, the Lovenox, and the new B vitamins, that all of that will be the right cocktail because honestly, I don't know what else we would try. I really don't. The intralipids are being done on the day of my transfer. I did question that again, and they said that they would be willing to appease me and do them a number of days in advance, but the immunologist doctor just swore up and down that it did not matter. She insisted that it did not matter, that she does it on the day of transfer for all of her patients, and it has worked, and blah, 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 blah. So, again, I'm going to go along with it and trust her. So, I suppose, and I know I shouldn't be thinking about this, but I suppose that if we need to try again, that is the one thing that we could change up. But past that, my RE and the immunologist are doing everything that I've heard of. Everything that I brought up that I was interested in, everything that they brought up that they were interested in. Speaking of which, the steroid thing has always kind of scared me. I have a bad family history with prednisone. This is dexamethasone, which is essentially just a really low dose of prednisone. It's another type of steroid, but it's the same concept. Yeah, I've got a bad family history with this stuff, so it's always scared me. But I started watching TTC. If you don't know who she is, I will link her below. She tried this with her last attempt, and I figured, hey, it's worth a shot, right? It's worth a shot. Got to try everything we can. So between all of this and PGDing and them telling us that these 5 embryos are good to go as of right now, 98% accurate on that, we're going to hope and we're going to pray. And I'm going to collect baby dust for the next 14 days or so. There was a baby at work yesterday. A coworker brought her 7-week-old in. She's still on maternity leave. And I had on a sweater like this, a big, soft, warm sweater. And I was holding her up front because she liked looking around. And her head was laying right here. And she was just nuzzling in and half falling asleep and waking up. And I was like, well, she seems very content with me, so I'm gonna absorb the baby vibes, absorb the baby dust, and just take this as a good luck charm and go with it. So, all right, I'm rambling. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. My next checkup at my RE is next Thursday. I believe that's the 22nd. By that point, my lining should be maybe halfway there. I will do my best to try and get on here and update you guys as to how it's looking. But prior to that, I probably won't have anything else TTC-wise. So whenever we get advancements about how I'm doing and how close we're getting, and of course when we actually get an FET date, I will get on here and let you guys know. Thank you so much for supporting me, for watching me, for sending me baby dust. I am praying for any of you guys that are also still trying, whether you're trying naturally or you're trying with a medicated cycle or your IVF or you're trying to save up for IVF. All of you guys are in my prayers. I am really, really hoping 2015 is the year of the baby for everybody. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks again. Bye.